Alright fellas, we're back on our Pokemon Masters video. Gonna be taking a look here at Arc Suit Ethan and Lugia. Alright, yeah, okay. So, Arc Suit Ethan to me is... okay, he's weird. Obviously you're gonna want to go for an Arc Suit character to buff a type. I think that Ethan, if you want to buff your flying types, mandatory. Like, I don't think there's any other good word to put it. Is like, if you don't have Ethan, your flying types suck. I'm gonna say suck just because I want to be dramatic, but like, yes, your flying types suck if you do not have this guy. I've just like, Ethan does so much enhancement for the flying type. Literally, if you want to just be direct about it, like in terms of like direct power up, I think he does more buffing for flying than any other Arc Suit or any other character does for any other type by themselves. He's really nuts at that enhancement. As like a unit by himself, I think he's solid. He's got a lot of gimmick checking capabilities, but I don't think he's like broken OP or anything like that in terms of like his ability to do a lot of things. I just think he is very vital if you want a strong flying type team or like character to buff your flying types. Like, he can make pretty much anyone look impressive, and that's like even without dupes, I believe, if I remember like how most of his kit seems to work. So I guess let's go ahead and take a look at him, just like to make sure we got ourselves like the main basics of how he works and everything. So at level 140 and 5 stars, he's got 684 HP, 185 defense, and 206 special defense. These are fine enough bulk stats, whatever, not really that great, but of course it's without investment, it's fine, not that big of a deal. 333 speed and 404 special attack. This is a very promising special attack stat without like extra investment. Speed is pretty whatever, nothing crazy. Level 150 and 6-star EX. He gets over 800 HP, 235 defense, 256 special defense. These are far better defensive stats, actually quite capable, surprisingly. Like, I mean, that's really solid defensive stats for a non-defensive based character here, and it only gets better when you get the Field EX roll, buffing those up to 276 special defense and 255 defense, and then some more HP and speed here as well. Over 400 speed, nearly 900 HP, you know, not too far off of 300 special defense as a non-tank character. I think he's got good stats all around distributed. And then 466 special attack. It's not the craziest offensive stat ever, but it's definitely solid and definitely capable. So I'll take 466 special attack, man. This works for sure. This is all very solid stat distribution for him. For his main move, he's got Arrow Blast, 4 gauge, it targets one opponent, 95 accuracy, crits land more easily, which I don't think is a problem for him. I think he's got guaranteed crits in his kit somewhere. I don't remember. I mean, you know, he has passives out the ass, so like, it's one of these. But anyway, yeah, like crits land more easily. 162 max power, 135 minimum power. Not really that strong at all for a 4 gauge move. I think it should have afforded to have been like at least about 40 more power at base. You know, that would have been a little over 200 power there. 5 out of 5, I think that would have been good. It's not the greatest move ever, but he makes it work. It's not that big of a deal, given a lot of the enhancement he can do. This is not the worst thing ever. Thunderwave, this, if I remember right, this mostly serves to gimmick check. I do not recall. I would have to look again at his passes. I'll be honest, when I'm looking at these characters, I don't remember a lot of their stuff, like when I'm actually looking at them. I believe actually he does get stuff whenever he's attacking paralyzed enemies, so actually I will bite my tongue on that one, but good gimmick check. I mean, being able to set a status condition consistently is very solid. Just being honest, it can be quite solid for a lot of stages that have that type of like gimmick check capability. Also, of course, good for like the damage challenges stuff as well. Paralysis, super solid. Anyway, he's got his buddy move, Almighty Seas Arrow Blast. It's a 4 gauge move, 1 use, 600 power. All right, targets one enemy and never misses. Activates whenever a sync move next is increased. Deactivated when it is not. It never misses. It has guaranteed crits. The attack's power increases by 50% when the target's affected by a status condition, and it makes the enemy flinch. Okay. So this is solid. 50% power increase. That's nearly 900 power. It's about 1,000 power after. It's about 1,000 power there. Close-ish, right? Especially after all the buffs and stuff. This is not. I believe this is not as strong as Lance or Ashes. Not really. It's not stronger than Arc Ends either, Arc Suit Ends, but it is good. It's definitely solid, solid buddy move. It's not, again, not like the biggest nuclear bomb buddy move we've ever seen, but it is good. It is effective as well. So very easy to get that extra 50% power buff on it. The guaranteed flinches are nice. They're all guaranteed flinches on anything is always going to be nice. Takes out the RNG in a lot of things, and also gives you a very crucial point to be able to do a lot of extra damage to your enemy or disrupt their actions. Flinching is always going to be helpful no matter what you are doing in the game. It's always going to be great. as long as it's not disabled, which people want to say, oh, flinching has resilience, there's like resilience, or some stages disable flinch. Is like, there are very few stages, if you consider how much content in this game releases, that actually disable flinch entirely. And even the ones with resilience, a flinch can make or break a run, even with resilience and stuff. So flinching is always good. I will always stand by that until the game starts actually giving us tons of content that is flinch immunity, flinch immunity, flinch immunity, right? Shining Soul, when used, applies endurance to the user. The more the user's sync move up next is increased, the more it reduces sync countdown up to 4. This alone is not really a great trainer move. You don't really get much real mileage out of this by itself. I mean, endurance can be great if you are obviously at the point where an ally or an enemy is about to KO you from just a straight AoE attack or something. And of course, extra sync countdown can be very, very strong as well. You just have to time that around to sync move up next, which I believe I remember how he increases it, but I'm not going to spoil that too much. Anyway, okay, so this is funny, bruh. Really, they just, okay. So, Ethan's sync move is Silver Torrent's Divine Aeroblast. It is a 360 power move here, never misses. The multi-effect for this move, you can notice it has no additional effect, and that's weird because any multi sync move, or any, like the character that is a multi-roll, they will have a sync move effect. Ethan's is that his is AoE. This makes his sync move AoE. That is the effect of his multi-EX. It will be an AoE move. Pretty good, right? Pretty good. It lowers all, and of course we already know how this works, lowers all enemies rebuff whenever it's used, and then it does Flying Zone because it's got the Field EX. So obviously being an arc character with Field. He's the first arc Field, being able to set type rebuff for -2 type rebuff. That's a 50% power buff for the whole team that does flying attacks. Obviously, I don't have to explain why that's good, but also being able to set Flying Zone on top of that is very good. It consolidates what your character has to do, like how many different buffers you need in order to get like the maximum damage possible. And that's just the start of it. Let's get into it. How about that? So, looking at his passive skills, in terms of his lucky skill here, he's got Barrel Roll 2. This is some 20% damage reduction when in Flying Zone. I can see that being helpful in like some legendary arena stages and maybe some like ultimate battle stages to like if you're like crunching numbers and getting damage ranges that could like, you know, make or break a win on a stage. I could see Barrel Roll being helpful there, right? But it's just more so if you're trying to if you're like willing to crunch those numbers and make a certain setup work or something like that, right? And this is the best way you can accommodate that. Otherwise, Critical Strike 2, something like that, it's gonna be, you know, probably your better damage enhancement and stuff. Whatever. Sky Myth and Sky Judgment. This is giving us some extra support. The more well, for offense and defense, the more flying type characters you have on the team. Of course, you're going to be wanting to run this guy with flying types. I mean, there's of course you can make cases like Arcsuit Steven or something like that where you don't want to. Well, Steven wants to run with steel types, but you can also run Steven without steel types because he's just so good, right? Just an example. Like Ethan is not one of those characters. If you're running if you're running Ethan, if you're running Ethan outside of a flying type team, I don't really see I don't see the vision, frankly. You're going to want to run him with flying type characters, so you're very, very likely, you know, if your support's not flying type, fair enough, you know, right? Like, supports are, like, the exception usually to the rule, though there is a very good flying support you should be running with this guy. Hello, right here, if you have him. If you don't have him, then, of course, hello. Okay, honestly, frankly, not even lying to you, I would probably run Winona, just because of that extra set of Flying Zone, which we'll get into in a bit. But, like, you know, obviously at least 2 flying characters you want to run on the team, so that's, I mean, at base, he's got a 10% power buff for the team, 20% damage reduction, and it's an extra, what, 10% power buff for, or, each additional sync pair powers that moves by 10%. Oh, maximum power buff is 30%, okay, 30, whatever, makes sense. Makes sense, but yeah, that'll be a 20% power buff with 2 flying type characters on the team, and then we got ourselves the 23% damage reduction pretty much. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty good, right? Anyway, Sky Judgment here as well, raising flying type rebuff of all eyes on entry. Of course, if you're, I would say it's good in a flying high score event, but this guy has a very specific other ability that makes him a little bit scary to take flying type attacks. But I mean, if you are in the case where you have to take flying type attacks, the fact that if this guy has damage reduction against that is going to be very helpful, especially given some of our abilities he's got. But anyway, yeah, he also lowers enemy flying rebuff on entry. So again, you know how arc suits work: -2 flying, or -1 flying rebuff on entry, or just whatever type rebuff of the arc suit is. Type rebuff on entry, and then -1 whenever they use their sync move. So obviously, great flying enhancement. Again, you're gonna want to run this guy with flying type characters. Should not really have to say that too much. All right, Shining Silver Soul, first hit EX Flying Zone. First time he uses an attack move and it's successful, he sets the EX Flying Zone. He's broken for flying types. I mean, it's one thing to have an Arc Suit character actually set the zone of the type that they're like trying to buff, because that would already be really good. Like, Arc Suit Cynthia is really, really good because of it. Lance would be very, very good. Lance would fix a lot of problems for dragon types if he was able to set his own dragon zone. Let's just be honest. Like, obviously it'd be great for, I don't think Arcan can do it, so I think it'd be great for him. Alder can set it. I think it's like, isn't it like a little weird to set though? I don't quite remember Alder's kit, but like, point is that if an Arc Suit character can also set their own zone or weather or whatever, it's extremely strong. It consolidates how much you actually have to like try and build around the fact that you might need your zone or something like that in order to actually get some enhancement. And it's well, very, very, very effective, right? So the fact that he not only has regular zone, but EX zone, EX flying zone is broken. Like, the Arc Silver having it as a support character is already really good, and you can like look at videos of how much fire is just decimating enemies. With that, you're gonna see similar results out of flying. Flying has some very good damage dealing options. I say some, but mostly Charon, right? Charon is gonna be hitting numbers on that Sync Nuke and that those like Bleak Windstorms, right? Those are gonna be doing some damage. And then we have Anniversary Skyla. Anniversary Skyla is a good character to run as a partner to Ethan, so you can get a lot of flying zone in. Yeah, it depends on your support, of course. If you're running Larry, then you may not need that. But if you're not running Larry, then Anniversary Skyla is a great alternative. Her nuke is going to be hitting like a weapon of mass destruction. It's going to be insane. You can even make characters that are not typically impressive. Like Anniversary Steven's gotten better, but he's still not like, you know. Let's make our argument here. I'm going to get harassed in the comments by a very specific Anniversary Steven individual that may or may not watch this video. But also, like, Suit Ethan himself, the original Lugia, you're gonna see some good numbers out of this guy, potentially just because of all that consolidation of zone and rebuff. I mean, you know, Nate can do something, probably not a lot, even especially with that dog shit, bro. What were they thinking? I haven't actually made a video talking about this, but bro, I was like, the memes are kind of overrated at this point. It's like, you know, you can say Nate is trash or whatever. It's like, you know, say like, Champion Nate wasn't even that bad on release. He's still quite competent. Bruh, I'm believing the vision now. What was the thought process? No one cooked. They saw Gladion, and like, Mallow wasn't like fantastic, which it was a good buff for her. Like, but they saw Gladion. Whomever made Gladion's great expansion, it was like, get him out, put the new guy in, put him in, coach, and they burnt the kitchen. Anyway. This is about Ethan, not Nate. Anyway, so yeah, again, consolidation of EX Flying Zone and Flying Rebuff is going to make Ethan. It is so unlikely that Ethan is ever going to get replaced on a Flying Zone setup, at least for years. Like, you will literally need to copy another Arc Suit flying character. You'll need to give someone who does at least -2 rebuff and sets EX Flying Zone in order for you to consider replacing Ethan on a Flying type team. Unless you just release a flying type character that does like, oh, I set a circle, oh, I do flying rebuff, oh, I set flying zone, and I do like +10 special moves up next every single turn or some stupid crap, right? Like, you would have to it's really hard for you to actually have to replace Ethan off flank setup. Like, I'm telling you, the guy is mandatory. It's pretty much no question. Like, you can get around potentially not having Arc Suit Silver on a fire setup with, you know, Arc Leon or Champion Brendan, or put them both together alongside like Champion Leaf or Cygnus Morty as like a support or whatever, right? Like, you can get away with it. You can still have a very effective fire setup without it. I'm telling you, the difference between having Arc Ethan for flying and not having Arc Ethan for flying is night and day. Like, we put a graph on, you're gonna be at like level 2 flying type team without this guy, and with him it's gonna be like a level 10 flying team. It's actually absurd. It's actually insane. Anyway, I keep yapping so much about that. I'm 14 minutes in, I've gotten through one passive. Pokemon moves Sync Boost to 9, increasing Sync move up next by 2 when its Pokemon uses a move. Thunder Wave, Aeroblast, Buddy Aeroblast, well, not training move because it's a Pokemon move. Like any of these three moves, if the Pokemon uses it, he gets Sync Move up next. That's how he's going to be able to get extra Sync countdown here, as long as you can get, you know, up to 10 Sync Move up next. That's how you're going to be getting yourself the activation of the Buddy move here, and everything else that he does that relies upon Sync boosts as well, right? So Sync Move up next, of course, is good. It enhances his Sync damage, which of course is going to be AoE, and it's going to be giving him the activation of all those effects I mentioned prior. And of course, it's very easy to get 2 for just attacking. That's great. Hit special defense down 3, 9, 100% chance of lowering enemy special defense by 3 when the user's attack move against it is successful. This is great. Any enemy he attacks, he's going to be getting -3 special defense. That's going to be very effective for enhancing damage for himself and your allies quick. I'm talking snap of fingers quick. Like, I don't quite remember the best setup for Champion Chariot. Is it him, Skyla, and Rosa? If I were to take a guess, maybe now it's Larry because flying zone stuff, right? And you can replace Skyla with someone else, but like something like that. Well, now Charon's actually got special defense debuffs on top of that to increase his damage on top of the rebuff and, or the EX flying zone, whatever else. So like that's even more damage enhancement for your special attacking flying types that are going to be run with Ethan. Even better, right? Even better. Swirling Storm, go viral 9, turns his status condition setting AoE, so Thunder Wave will hit all enemies now. Don't really need to explain why that's good. It is just good. It is. He's got first use status move, special attack up by 6 and crit up by 3, so he gives himself +3 crit and +6 special attack on the first use of Thunder Wave. So Thunder Wave is going to be guaranteed paralyzing all enemies. It's going to be giving him +6 special attack and crit, so you're going to want to use it regardless, does not matter. And then after that, you will have the full effect of the extra damage for his Buddy move, and you'll be able to also then use your Aeroblast to get your EX Flying Zone up, right? So Thunder Wave, I mean, it basically acts as like a setup move for him. It's very solid. Silver Wing Soaring the Deep Sea. Ally hit status condition opponent stat down 9. Lowers one of the target's falling stats by 1 at random when attacking enemies that are affected by a status condition. Attack, defense, special defense, speed, accuracy, or evasion. I mean, that's guaranteed random debuffs. Debuffs are powerful. That's good gimmick check. Very, very solid. And then hit status condition opponent free moves next. He's got guaranteed free moves next, turning the gauge that's needed for Aeroblast into just a complete non-problem. Very, very good. So I know I kind of like went fast for those last few, but not only is Ethan's damage enhancement absurd for flying types, but his gimmick checking ability is very, very solid as well. Being able to set rebuff counts as a status change. A lot of stages like to use that. Being able to debuff special defense guaranteed, and also be able to guarantee any enemies that are affected by a status condition, which of course he can do as well. You get yourself that status condition, which is a good set of gimmick checking, and you also get debuffs, which is an amazing form of gimmick checking, as well as an amazing form of damage reduction, damage increasing against the enemies, and also just generally, again, deactivating gimmicks there, like fluid fortification, tough skin is, I think, when you're super effective, but like whatever other abilities that are like, oh, take no damage whenever the enemy has stat buffs and stuff, like it's helpful for that stuff, right? I think you do want to probably run him with like other characters that can do similar debuffing. I don't think he's going to be able to carry alone with this, except like maybe a legendary arenas and stuff, but it is going to be helpful for sure. And hell, maybe he could carry against like Annabelle or something with it. And then the free moves next, of course, good gauge. We love good gauge in this house. It's going to be great. And also being able to set EX Flying Zone. There are stages that require you to set a weather terrain or zone to actually do damage. I know Durak and Giovanni immediately come to mind for ultimate battles. So being able to set a zone as well is another form of amazing gimmick check for him. So he really is able to check a lot of enemy gimmicks extremely well. He's got guaranteed crits here as well and stuff like that. Rebuff, status condition, debuffs, a weather terrain, zone effect like that. He's hitting all the boxes that you basically want a character to hit when it comes to being able to fight a bunch of stages that all have different gimmicks, right? So those are all like the baseline that you really want. And of course, his method of damage enhancement is really, really strong. And despite the fact that like 466, once we get the max offenses here again, despite that's like not an amazing special attack, it's good, it's solid, but it's not like the best thing in the world. And the fact that Aeroblast 162 power is not that great, and his Buddy move is going to be really hitting hard, but obviously it's not like the best one. It's not the best like one tap Buddy move ever, right? It's all going to be stupidly strong just because he is doing both the EX Flying Zone setting and the rebuff setting. They've been making all the characters that have the EX Weather Terrain Zone pretty, for the most part. I mean, there are some exceptions, right? But like relatively undertuned in terms of like their ability to actually hit hard. Ethan is a similar-ish case, but the fact he does both, acts as the Arc Suit and the EX Weather Terrain Zone setter, is going to make it so much more of a payoff for him, and his damage is still going to be really solid because, I mean, a 3x multiplier is really, really good, right? And of course, set flying via the EX roll here with Field is very solid as well. You are still going to want to run him with another Flying Zone setter like Anniversary Skyla, when known as a very free-to-play option if you have her and have her EX roll invested, so I'm not going to rely on that too much. Or Larry, I really recommend Larry. If you didn't, I've told people if the Flying Zone setter's coming, or the EX Flying Zone setter's coming, or if the Arc Suit's coming, or like, and the moment Ethan released, I was like, get Larry, get Larry, get Larry. If you didn't get Larry, well, I mean, you either didn't watch the videos or you didn't care, and well, at that point, it's your own fault. And again, not really trying to blame people for that. It's just like, can't really, hope you're not upset about it, right? But anyway, whatever, doesn't matter too much. Yeah, Ethan's really, really solid here. I mean, this is just a great base kit, and that's without even going into the grid. So we're 20 minutes in, let's go into the grid. Oh boy, 1 out of 5 unflappable, doesn't really matter too much. Some power tiles, pretty helpful, frankly. Again, given like the lower power of Aeroblast, be able to pick these up actually could be relatively helpful for him. 2 out of 5, he gets that free plus 20 special attack. Again, another pretty solid tile for him. Aerial acceleration, train move, hit and heal, not team hit and heal, regular hit and heal. Flying Zone HP recovery, natural remedy, Aeroblast gauge refresh, Thunder Wave super preparation, Thunder Wave. Aeroblast gauge refresh, okay, whatever. Thunder Wave gauge refresh and shocking slowdown 9. Okay. So for debuffing, again, I like shocking slowdown, more debuffs, more stuff like that. That's going to be good for those stages that need those debuffs for like gimmick check and stuff, so helpful there. He's got the gauge refresh for these moves. He doesn't really need it himself, but maybe your team does. Unlikely though. Flying is not a type that is extremely gauge heavy. Even your bigger gauge heavy characters, like I guess the old Ethan, right, isn't that bad considering he uses his trainer move pretty much every other turn in order to actually like do as much damage as possible. And then like Anniversary Steven, who's a 4-gauge move user, I mean, he's a speed demon. That was a whole meme for him, and he's also able to max out his speed really easily. Anniversary Skyla buffs speed. Even Larry here is buffing speed. No, actually, no, Larry, that's the big thing with Larry. He doesn't buff speed. Right, I remember now. He doesn't buff speed. But like, again, flying is not a type that is very gauge heavy. Even Champion Charon, he alternates between using a 4-gauge move and a 2-gauge move. And even if you cannot like hit, he's like, oh, I can't do the 4-gauge move, you know, I'm out of gauge and stuff, you know, you still have the access to the trainer move here in order to kind of like mitigate that issue a little bit, right? And again, Ethan himself is gaugeless, so I don't think flying's in a dire need of like having major like gauge issues and stuff. Thunderwave super preparation, mostly good for damage challenge. This guy's gonna obliterate like Noland in any like hard flying content, so just damage challenge. And it's a good tile in the damage challenge considering obviously, you know, you have Thunderwave. It can fail. It makes your sync countdown go faster. I don't even know. Like, I feel like no. For like 3v1, he probably could be good spamming, but 3v3, no, he probably wants to spam to sync. Anyway, other than that, the healing is nice. I do like the healing. These are good gauntlet tiles for sure. You're definitely going to want to pick these up in that game mode specifically. By the way, his gauntlet prowess is probably going to be pretty good. His gimmick checking is good enough across the board. I would imagine that he's going to be getting a lot of solos. Maybe even, what's this? Just quickly land us 3 out of 5. Could he get Moltres? I would imagine it's not like no flinching, no consistent healing. Got like decent bulk. But Moltres can't be debuffed, and he also can't buff his defenses. I don't know, maybe not Moltres, but like he can get. I would imagine he's gonna get a lot of legendary arena souls simply because he's gonna have this tick healing. He doesn't have gauge issues. He's able to check gimmick stages like the status conditions. So was it Yuxi? Obviously, is not gonna be a problem there. He sets rebuffs, so again, mostly helping with Yuxi there. Weather terrain zones, so like Terrakion's not a big issue. Debuffs, Latias is no longer really an issue. I would imagine Cresselia might still be a problem, but also like he's got so much damage ramping that he can probably hit through a lot of like damage reduction gimmicks if he really has to. I think his lack of like flinching outside of the buddy move could hurt him there though. But I mean, he's also got damage reduction with barrel roll. Like, I mean, I'm just thinking about that. If you're a legendary gauntlet player, you probably already have like a decent grasp of what this guy can do. So leave that in the comments if you're interested. But yeah, I mean, I like healing. This is also great in pretty much anywhere. If you can like sacrifice, if you're at 2 out of 5 for him by whatever reason instead of 3 out of 5 where you want to get other things, these healing tiles can be helpful if your supportive character isn't that great at healing. If you are running Larry, you're probably not really going to have that problem too much, especially given that Ethan is relatively bulky himself. He's got damage reduction abilities in this passive as well as decent enough bulk stats naturally to be fine. But if you do need the healing, having double nodes of it can be helpful here. And a little bit gauge stuff, again, not really needed. Natural remedy, decent if you're fighting enemies, I guess, that are doing a lot of status conditions, but for the most part, probably nothing too crazy to pick up there. 3 to 5 plus 50 sync power, another plus 25, 2 plus 25 sync power tiles here. Debut sync up 4, piercing gaze, adrenaline 1, static shock 9. First use status move, team special moves up next by 1. First use status move, damage guard. Arrow, oh, never mind. I completely skipped over that. Yeah, he getting mulchers for, yeah, okay, he's 14 out of 14. Staggering 4, maybe Cresselia, but anyway, staggering 4, and then paralysis energy 3. Okay. Just completely changed the tune. Yeah, okay. I don't really need to explain why staggering 4 is amazing. Again, I'm telling you, flinching is godly. Flinching is amazing. Flinching's amazing. Flinching's amazing. Flinching's amazing. I've never, time for me to shut up? Probably. But yeah, like 50% flinch chance is 50% flinch chance carries in legendary into stages. It's amazing in high score event stages. It's very solid pretty much across the board, as long as it works in your favor. Sometimes, you know, RNG might screw you over a little bit, but if flinching makes a lot of fights possible, and it allows you to preserve the flinch on your buddy move for when you like really need it, or like you can more so focus on the power aspect of your buddy move instead of maybe trying to focus on the flinch or anything like that, which I'm not saying that you would want to focus on the flinch anyway, but some tactics and fights could rely on that, and well, having 50% flinch chance here pretty much for the most part negates that. Yeah, that's OP. 50% flinch chance, that's great. Again, the plus 50 sync power here, and then, or well, plus 100 total, I guess, and then static shock 9. That's a 90% multiplier. That's 100 power to his sync move here, making it 430 power. Of course, he's also going to have the rebuff and the EX flying zone, and the sync move up next from, you know, the plus 2. Is it here? Yeah, plus 2 he gets every time he attacks or uses Thunder Wave as well. So that's going to be giving him a very solid sync nuke. I don't think it'll be better than Charon's. I mean, Charon's got himself Cakewalk here, and then he's got what, like it's somewhere in here, but like the more physical moves up next he has. Something like this. More physical moves up next increase, the more powers up sync moves right here. What else does he have? I know he's got other syncs. Does he have other sync stuff? I would have imagined. No, just Cakewalk and then sync tiles and stuff. Okay. Maybe Ethan's actually no. Oh wait, sorry, innate. Yeah, okay, forgot. My bad. I forgot about innate multipliers. But yeah, like Charon here, he's got a relatively similar special attack stat. He's got, after he picks up all the sync tiles, pretty similar sync power here as well, but then he's got an extra 100% pretty much in multipliers, and also he can get sync move up next depending on like what your support is. Can't Larry increase sync move up next, or is it just special moves up next? I need to just like kind of like refresh. Oh no, doesn't Larry do it here? Yeah, increase the sync move up next by 1 when any of its stats are raised. So like if anytime this guy gets stat buffs, you know, he's going to be getting sync move up next. So like this guy's going to be hitting really hard. His sync is going to be hitting really hard under Ethan. And then of course, you've got yourself this Anniversary Skylet. If you do run her, she's got a very good nuke Inertia, whereas Interference sync 5, her innate multiplier here as well with text powers increased by Flying Zone. I don't think this helps anything. Yeah, it doesn't. But like she's also got over 500 special attacks with all of her like complete max investment here. Mine is max investment, so 599 special attack, but even without Super Awakening, 552 special attack, very, very good. She's going to be a very hard hitting nuker, so very solid under all of those buffs Ethan provides. Ethan will want to use the sync move at least the first time anyway, though, just for that flying rebuff, as well as that extension of Flying Zone with the Field EX roll. Or EX Flying Zone with the Field EX roll. So that's going to be good to go for at least the first time. You can definitely rely on Ethan, I would say as much at least, as your main nuker. If you don't want to sync with Charon or Skylar, or you're just not running him with those characters, you could definitely make good uses of Ethan's sync nuke. It's definitely not bad. It's definitely passable for sure. Adrenaline 1 for some sync countdown stuff. He's already got -4 here, so another -1. If you can stack that, you can get some very effective sync countdown on the team. Like, this guy may as well be sprint at this point, but I'm glad he's not. He got that field. I love that field. So yeah, you can get some good usage here out of the sync countdown, -5 potentially, or -6 if you're on Adrenaline. You know, Adrenaline 1 is a lucky skill. Like, that's a lot of sync countdown. And it's mostly up to you to get that to work. Also, running him with like flinching setups with staggering on Aeroblast or the buddy move, that gives you extra turn denial and in turn extra sync countdown on the team, so you can get a very, very fast second sync move in either with him or whatever other partner, you know, once you actually use the trainer move here, right? Anyway, piercing gaze, never missing. Piercing gaze is not really, I wouldn't imagine it's that great for him. I don't think it's Okay, well, okay. Piercing Gaze is not good like by base. I mean, you can deal with 95% chances here. It's not that big of a deal. Does he have a... Yeah, he's got +5 accuracy tile right here. You can pick this up if you need it. Thunderwave, you know, you can miss that first Thunderwave, but you're using it the first time anyway. It's going to be paralyzed. Enemies very rarely tend to cure their status conditions, and if they do, it's a 90% chance. You're unlikely to miss it, right? So Thunderwave's fine. And the buddy move never misses, of course. This is mostly for enemies that want to debuff your accuracy. Stages, there are plenty of stages that can debuff it. I mean, a lot, like the few battle shadow lanes, I believe, are stages that debuff accuracy. I don't remember Ingo or Emmett. I don't know if they do it. I don't think I've ever even done that fight. I don't care enough. I'm just kind of talking like I know things at this point, but whatever. Like, there's quite a few stages that like to do accuracy debuffing or evasion buffing on themselves. This just shuts that shit down quick. Great for Latias as an example in the legendary arenas, but also great for like Morgan, and I believe Dana does similar stuff. So getting rid of those things. Again, he's also got good gimmick check against Dana, being able to get rid of the ice zone. Very, very helpful. So, and then there's also Anniversary Steven, who can run as a good partner alongside him and get rid of that hail, right? Love that. But yeah. Yeah, this can be good for those accuracy debuffing or evasion buffing stages. So that's where you mostly get the use of this. Debut Sync Up 4. This can be helpful if you're trying to like ramp up his sync move up next quick enough to get the effect of the trainer move here, or if you just want to like hit hard on that first sync move off rip. You can do it either way. I would not personally try and invest in this tile too much. I think he's got other good tiles elsewhere, so I don't really care to go for this tile too much, but I mean, it is there as the option if you need it. First use status move, team special moves up next 1. This is a little bit of fun support, I suppose. It's the first time he uses a status move, so basically the first turn, because he's going to use Thunderwave as the first move in the entire fight. It's very rare you're going to do anything else. So you're also going to give the whole team +1 special moves on next, but like earlier on, your team's setting up, your team's not really using damaging moves, and if they're using damaging moves, they don't have sync buffs, they don't have debuffs, they're not going to be hitting nearly as hard as you would want them to. That +1 special moves on next is unlikely to make a massive difference. I would not pick this tile up pretty much ever. Not really. First use status move, damage guard next. This can be helpful if you can play around this right to where you know that like it's going to help you end the fight. You can make good use of this. Like Annabelle, as an ultimate battle, starts with Eruption. This can like completely negate that first Eruption's damage, help him mitigate some crucial damage that might be, well, sorry, mitigate some damage that could be crucial later on in the fight in order to help like him survive a sync move or another high-powered attack, or of course like a sync move or something like that. If you can make sure he's not taking AoE attacks before the enemy actually uses their sync move, it can be good to reduce damage from that. So could be some good usage here. If you can find good usage of it, the option is there for it. I'm not gonna like think of entire scenarios off the top of my head when doing these overviews to like give you an idea for that, but you know, just generally it is like that. Again, like an on entry powerful AoE move, or like a sync move that you know you can actually maintain this damage guard too, stuff like that. It can be helpful. Already went over staggering 4 and Aeroblast being broken, and then Paralysis Energy 3, 30% multiplier. Of course, that's good for his damage overall. I mean, plus the rebuff and the EX Flying Zone, the supportive passive he's got here, you know, lucky skills, whatever else, debuffs, everything he's got to enhance damage. Another 30% multiplier on top of that is going to be very helpful for his damage. It's going to make it look a lot better, especially given, again, Aeroblast's kind of middling base power. But again, even like these characters that have like relatively mediocre base power on their damaging moves, or like his special attack's not mediocre, it's just like good. It's like a 7 out of 10, 7.2 out of 10 special attack stat, I would say, or something like that, you know. The high, like up to 600 being about 10 out of 10 I would give, but like, you know, in that general range. It's not like uber high, but it's not low either. But point is, you know, these characters that have these either lower special attack stats or their lower base powers, the fact that the EX zone in general is just so damn strong that it really doesn't even matter. So extra multipliers on top of that is going to make this hit really hard, right? EX zone's just broken. And that's a 3 out of 5. It's a good 3 out of 5. It really is. It gives him his sync multipliers. It gives him his DPS multipliers. Gives him his flinching, which is really, really strong. Piercing Gaze is another form of solid gimmick check against those accuracy and evasion related stages. Adrenaline 1 could be decent for some sync countdown stuff, and the damage guard as well could be quite helpful too if you do need that. Again, a good 3 out of 5. And of course, the sync power is also very, very good to increase the sync damage there. 4 out of 5, he gets first sync move, restore buddy move. I mean, I don't really have to say why that's broken. You know, 575 power, 50% extra power here. It's like nearly 900 power, and you get 2 uses of it under flying rebuff, debuffs, EX Flying Zone, his passive skill, his paralysis energy. I just, you know, the grocery list of damage enhancement this guy has. On top of like if he ever gets support from a character, like is it Skyla that does like special moves on next buffs? yeah, team special moves up next if you get her to if you get her to set flying zone for your team. So even more potential enhancement for Ethan if he can get some special moves up next buffs, right? And Larry, I believe, can do it as well. So like, yeah, he's gonna be hitting hard, and he's got 2 of them. I don't really need to explain why that's broken. Take lances or arc ends, like buddy moves, and like how much damage they can do. And consider the fact that despite the fact that Ethan's got lower overall base power on the move, he's got triple from the EX flying zone. So yeah, you're getting some weapons out of that, some nuclear weapon levels of damage. And then 5 out of 5 is flying zone extension. It's going to depend on your setup mostly if you need this. If you're running him with like Anniversary Skyla, I don't think it's that impactful because she's got extension, she's also got multiple settings of it, and she's got NPR. She's really not struggling to help this team with flying zone. But if you're running like someone with like Champion Sharon, and then I want to say that Larry's not going to struggle too much either. I mean, he's got, I believe, 3 sets of it. He's got the field roll, he's got, is it 2 sets on the buddy move? Yeah, 2 sets on the buddy move right here. And doesn't he have like, am I wrong, or doesn't he have like sync burst or buddy move like NPR or something like that? Yeah, first sync move buddy, restore buddy move NPR. Like he's got 4 settings of it as well. I don't think he's going to struggle. And then again, extension there as well. So I think you're going to be fine to not have to 5 out of 5 Ethan in order to like have a massive impact on your flying zone. Because remember, flying zone extension in regards to EX flying zone or EX zone in general, it's only going to extend that first setting of it by 30 seconds. So any subsequent settings of EX zone or, well, flying zone, whatever, it doesn't matter, they're not going to be also extended. It's just going to be regular amounts. So this is effectively acting as just another set of flying zone on top of his EX flying zone to extend its duration. Just once, not for every subsequent set. So not as good as like the regular, how the regular extension works for, or sorry, how extension works for regular zones and weathers and stuff like that. So, but it can be a good tile. Again, it depends on your setup, and if you do really think you need it, it's there. It's good to at least have it there as an option. I think you're good to just run this guy. Hell, honestly, even 1 out of 5 is so stupidly impactful for flying types. I would, again, not pass this up if you're trying to like get this guy for your flying type teams. 2 out of 5, not that crazy, but you know, healing could be nice. 3 out of 5, very solid. You're going to want the damage and stuff on that, so this can be a very good investment level to kind of stop at. 4 out of 5, if you do really think you need that extra super firepower from the buddy move that he can launch here, you can pick that up, and I would say this is probably where most people would want to stop. 3 out of 5 is good. 4 out of 5 is good. 5 out of 5, if you really need it and want to be like an overachiever and just get that basically extra set of flying zone in for his extension for the EX flying zone, sure. You know, you can pick it up. But I think 4 out of 5 is plenty good enough for him. I even think 3 out of 5 is good enough for him. And I think, at the very least, you do want this guy at 1 out of 5. He's not one of those arc suits that's like, oh, give me heavy investment or else I'm going to suck. No, I really actually think he's going to be very, very solid, even just at 1 out of 5 for your flying type teams. Very, very solid. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Arc Suit Ethan. I'm going to go ahead and end the video. This video's nearby 40 fucking minutes because, man, I yap about my favorite type for way too long. Oh, boy. I want to let it be known. I don't think Ethan's like the best arc suit ever or whatever. I know the friggin' video length is probably making it seem like I think that, but I mean, Arc Steven is still so broken. Arc Cynthia is still so broken. I mean, Silver, the fire type team alone is really, really broken. But I do think Ethan's enhancement of flying is so strong, and I do think flying after his buff is going to be really, really oppressive. Like, it's not as if like flying in a vacuum is super good. It's like flying is actually legitimately gonna be super damn powerful and super damn strong after this guy releases, and I'm excited to see it. But anyway, again, I'll see y'all later. Hope y'all enjoyed. Good luck on your summons for Ethan. Good luck on your skipping. I'll see you later. Hope y'all enjoyed. Peace.